guys don't have any offshore components. Do you know of any Agile implementations with offshore components?
Yes, we actually we had a pilot. I want to say, actually, it was one of the early ones in 2005, I think, where we attempted to do offshore, distributed Agile. And the way we did it was development occurred here, okay? So cards for development occurred here, and then at night, all the testing was done. So they ran all the automation, all of that. So when the team came in the next day, they had defects to fix, okay? So we really did it that way. I will tell you, we're trying to figure out offshore. We're trying to figure out how to take advantage of it. When you scale to the size we're looking for, offshore will have to be an option.
Could that just increase your capacity on the development
Yep.
side of things?
Yep. Go ahead.
You said you're at 26 teams in the application development center. What's that penetration percentage for the company? How far
So we do, so the stat I think I saw, we do about $50 million of software development compared to about $400 million total budget. We want to double to triple that. So we want to get to the percentage where we're almost more than half of the total budget is coming to the shared organization.
Are you kind of, it's an organic growth, or you are kind of hiring, kind of getting people from other parts of the business?
We're currently working on a roadmap for that. I think it's going to be a combination of everything. So we'll probably look to create partnerships with vendors for entire teams. We will look to bring teams in from other parts of Nationwide, and we'll look to hire. There's no way we could rely on one way to grow that much. Go ahead.
What kind of challenges are you facing when, people from non-agile team, within SNI, when those people are coming to your team? Like, what kind of challenges or
Yeah, can you speak up a little bit?
I mean, what kind of issues or challenges do you have when a non-agile, a team member from non-agile team come to your team?
So the question is, what kind of challenges do we have when someone would be introduced to the team that has not had the experience of Agile? There's always challenges with that. I will tell you that we do pretty good at training. I wouldn't say we're the best. So we do a lot of Agile immersion classes. We do process awareness classes before they show up. We also, what we really do is we believe in pairing. So anyone that's introduced to the team should pair in order to learn how we do work. It's always going to be a challenge. I don't know how we'll get away from that because people always come into the environment with their own philosophy, their own way of how they think things should get done, and they have to learn how we do it. Go ahead.
Yeah, how are your teams organized? Are they organized by a specific product or by features in your organization? How do they organize?
Yes, every way. So we have teams that are organized by asset. We call them assets or applications. We have a couple teams that are doing run work. So literally, they're doing nothing but run, which would be just production defects, right? We have some teams that are doing more than one project at a time. We have some teams. Where there's 4 teams working on one project and one asset. So you name it, we see all types of Agile. So we have techniques to solve a lot of those. And I'll tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy when you talk about the different types of teams that we put together.
Outside of the ADC, how did you train your businesses to now interact with a central organization where it might seem a little more black box? My resources aren't sitting next to my business necessarily, and bringing on the stronger product owners, perhaps. Could you talk a little bit about that?
So we have, actually, maybe I can go back to our standard work here. We actually have bookends that we call and BSAs are really our customers. We have engagement processes that we fundamentally sit with our customers and teach them about how to do business with us. We actually put them through our process awareness sessions. We talk to them about accountabilities. We actually have many checklists here that we walk through in order to get them ready to do business with us. It's not easy because the hardest part is every customer comes from a different place of understanding. So that is really a hard thing to do. And it's the same thing when we deliver software back to the business and we go away, which is the benefit of a shared organization is we'll deliver the software for you, and then when you run out of project money, we'll go away. We'll go find other work in the organization. But what we do is we actually have core teams, core Agile teams, that we try to stick together for as long as we can. And when they go to a new customer, we bring their technical people, their requirements people, their testers into the room, and they become one with us. They're considered the line, or what we call a line. And when they're done, or we're done with the initiative, they go back. Okay? So that's kind of the transition that we try to do. By doing it this way, we're actually training our customers how to do Agile so they can be sustainable throughout the organization. One of the interesting things is there's 147 nationwiders at this conference today, and only 50 of them are from the ADC. That's huge. That means that we're actually getting some impact to our customers in the organization on what Agile means, and they're wanting to learn. So that's going to help us going forward with the next project, right? With the next customer, when they come into our BSA engagement, they'll say, "Been there, done that. I get it. Let's move on." And that's why it's kind of a person by person or customer by customer problem.
Now, you were talking about the customer. What about the IT development staff, like external teams that are doing waterfall?
So whenever we have dependencies, right? So everybody's got dependencies. We've got 1,200 applications. So when you have 1,200 applications, you have a lot of dependencies. We implement Scrum type activities for those. If they are on a waterfall plan and we are on an Agile plan, it becomes a different challenge, but it can be done. Okay? Iterations have gates just like waterfall, except our gates are 2 weeks. So we really talk to PMs about how to manage the plan and those dependencies. PMs now at Nationwide, when they deal with us, are really dealing more with dependencies amongst teams and assets than they are with technique. That's what we bring to the table. We're going to bring technique. And if we can bring that technique to that customer, and the next time we do business with them, they're going to have an iterative plan. And we're not going to have that problem. We've seen it. We've solved it. It's not easy at all. How much time do we got? 20 minutes. Wow. We're here all day.
Have you had any challenges with your financial model from a project approval standpoint? You had to look at changing?
So the question is, have we had any challenge with the financial model? So I would say, how many of you have experienced pair programming and trying to tell a PM that if I'm going to have 2 developers work on one thing? How many people are PMs here? Yeah, so what do you usually say? 2 people working on one thing. What's that mean? It's going to cost twice as much, right? It's going to cost twice as much. That's the kind of challenges I have from a financial perspective, is the techniques that we implement. People ask, does it cost me more, and is it of value? So that's why we go back to the zero defect stuff. If we build quality into our processes, it's not about how much those 2 developers cost, it's how much you've saved on rework because you don't have defects anymore.
Well, I was talking more so from the standpoint of, hey, we need to know all the requirements up front and need to know the ROI of those requirements before you even start design.
So there is, at Nationwide, we still have what we call kind of an initiate solution scoping phase before it ever gets to us. So all of that work around, is this a viable thing to do? Are we going to get return on investment? They still do that, okay? And they don't even bring us in until they're ready, until they've solved all those problems. So we expect our customers to solve that problem, okay? We haven't really gotten to the point where they're willing to do more Agile type techniques in that phase yet. They still like to do it more waterfallish. But you're right, that is a great place to fix kind of the financial problem of the return on investment and everything like that. But we don't really see a lot of that problem because that's kind of outside of what we do. Go ahead.
You said you had 1,200 applications. How do you deal with the architectural challenges of keeping them all working together well?
Ask the architects.
So what is the architect role then?
The architect role is literally to define dependencies, how systems work together. Okay. It also defines tiers. You know, what your middle tier is going to look like, what the 3 tiers are going to look like. Architects literally build the framework for what the applications look like.
Are they on your teams or are they?
We invite any and all architects to our team. Unfortunately, they spend a lot of time in the initiate solution scoping phases. Once we get the work, everybody's happy with the frameworks that we're going to build, and we just move on. Typically what happens is if we get roadblocks, we will go seek out architects, but we do invite anybody and everybody to our lines if they want to play.
Yeah, do you have any suggestions as to how to sell Agile developer management? Do you use any business cases or any resources to help you?
So, do I have any suggestions on how to sell Agile? I don't believe you can do any selling unless you actually show them. So I believe we did it the right way by doing pilots. If you cannot show success, and when I mean success, I mean project or software development success with a small pilot team, you'll never get buy-in. So absolutely pilot what you're doing first. And I also believe no one will ever learn Agile from a book or a presentation. Please partner with experts. I say that because I don't want people to fail at Agile. And I don't want Agile to have a bad name. So if there are some very good vendors out there that have a lot of experience, there's some very good ones here. And if you're new to Agile, please bring them in to seed your teams because they will give you a jump start.
Do you suggest any vendors that you guys use?
I think we've used them all. Lightspeed, Lean Dog. John Stahl's a good friend of mine. He actually worked at Nationwide and was part of our initiatives here. He has some very talented coaches. Those are 2 of my favorite. But there are definitely good ones out there. Go ahead.
You're talking about measuring and comparing to the industry standards and how you're wanting to compare to offshore. But then you're talking about looking into having some of the team being offshore. Kind of wondering.
Kind of contradicts itself, doesn't it? So I talked a little bit about we wanted to be better than offshore so that we could bring the work back. And then I made a statement, well, now we're looking at an offshore model, right? So if you would have talked to me about 2 months ago, I would have told you offshore was not an option for us. But since we've got approval to almost triple in size, we don't know how to do that. And we've got to look at all options. And offshoring is an option. So we are looking at the offshoring model and seeing if it fits properly into what we're doing. Do I know if we will do that? I'm not there yet. We're not there yet. I will tell you that, and if you haven't figured this out, building floors from scratch that look agile costs a lot of money, okay? And so we have 3 floors. If we keep building more, it's going to cost a lot more money. And we're at the point now where we're asking ourselves, should we be leveraging off-site development centers that we can dictate how they do their work? Kind of like the Toyota concept where Toyota dictates how vendors do their work. Those are the things we're looking at. We haven't solved the problem yet, though. Go ahead.
Do you do anything different during sprint planning meetings?
Do we do anything different through sprint planning meetings? Give me an example of different. I don't know what you mean.